by a new budget deficit. An unusual orchestra makes its debut this week at Carnegie Hall. It's the YouTube Symphony. Its members auditioned with video clips posted on the YouTube website. One of them, a violinist, is a physician from Modesto. I caught up with Calvin Lee last week, just before he left for New York, and asked what persuaded him to audition for the YouTube Symphony.
I'm always looking for great excuses to play violin, and when I saw this, it became a great excuse to play the violin. I have to step back a minute and say, what do I mean by a great excuse? Well, I'm a doctor. I work as mainly a surgeon and also an acupuncturist, and that fills up most of my day. And I look to music as a way to relax, and a lot of times I just don't really give myself that chance to relax unless I have a goal in mind. And the YouTube Symphony gave me a goal. It said, well, let's play some music, and we can even record it for another purpose than just relaxing. It might lead to a prize of Carnegie Hall. So that was my main motivation for playing for this YouTube contest. It was just first started out as just an excuse, and I didn't even know if I was going to win or not. I just said, let's try.
Well, you say relax, but I've watched your audition video on YouTube, and you don't look very relaxed.
I know. I thought I would be more relaxed, and I looked at the list of pieces they wanted us to play, and all the pieces they picked were some of the hardest pieces in the violin repertoire. And to my dismay, everything was repetitive motion. And as a doctor, I know repetitive motion is very hard and dangerous for people who are weekend warrior violinists like myself. So I said, okay, well, I'll just keep going. So one thing led to another, and I gave myself 2 weeks to try to strengthen my muscles to the point that I could record this. And I had to set deadlines for myself. And that's I wasn't very relaxed for that video, and actually there are moments there where I actually felt some pain. And I was like, I can only record this a few times, and I just have to send it in, and we'll just see what happens.
Well, we have an excerpt from your YouTube audition video. Let's listen to it. That's the Presto from Bach's Violin Sonata in G minor. So that was a piece that of a list of pieces that they suggested you choose.
That's right. And a lot of the other pieces, they sound pretty similar. They're all notes after notes after notes, non-stop torture. But it's not torture when you put it all together as one beautiful piece.
What do you mean when you say strengthen your muscles? This audition video was less than 3 minutes long. What is it doing to your muscles that they need to be strengthened to do it?
This repetitive motion, constant onslaught of note after note without a chance to relax, using that word again, you get very tired very quickly. I could tell you after playing about 20 seconds into it, I already started feeling the lactic acid buildup in my wrist, on both wrists, especially the left hand, though, for this piece.
My guest is Calvin Lee. He's a Modesto man who's a member of the YouTube Symphony Orchestra, which performs Wednesday at the Carnegie Hall in New York. He's a surgeon and acupuncturist. Now, that YouTube video, our listeners can't tell, but you're in what looks to be an empty house, and in fact it is an empty house because you write on the YouTube page, this video was recorded in my empty house that wouldn't sell. Is that true?
It is true. It's still for sale. So if you like the way it looks, give me a call. Send me a message through YouTube. I'm half kidding. But, it's a house near where I currently live, and that was my first house I lived in Modesto. And I switched houses to a bigger house. And this is a very nice house with hardwood floors and high ceilings. And I didn't quite know where to record. I tried recording in my house that I currently live in. It's very cluttered and has a lot of furniture in it. And when I recorded, it didn't quite sound like the hall effect that I wanted to give myself. So I just tried various places, and it actually dawned on me, why don't I try the old house? And so I did, and it sounded great. I liked it a lot. It wasn't perfect acoustics, but it was a lot better than dead acoustics. And when you're playing all these notes, I just didn't want my violin to sound very squeaky. YouTube has a way of compressing the violin sound that it actually sounds even squeakier than it is. But by adding a little natural reverb that way, when it sounded squeaky, actually, it didn't sound too bad.
And I know this wasn't your main concern, of course, but it looks pretty cool as well. It looks like you're in some expensive salon or something like that.
Yeah.
This is uncluttered.
Yeah, some people said, is that an addition to your house? I'm like, oh, no, I don't. My regular house is not that big, but it's big enough.
Now, someone who commented on your YouTube video wrote, I'm a tile bathroom player myself. And as I was looking at that, a classical announcer at our station, Michael Frost, who's a violist, he happened to come up to me and said that he started out playing in a bathroom as well. So I guess it's an acoustic advantage to playing in that kind of environment.
It really is, especially if it's tile. Hardwood floor is next best. Carpet is the worst. But I have to go back and tell a little story how I've annoyed many of my classmates at Brown University. This was about 20 years ago, and I was a freshman. Oh, it's more than 20, maybe. Freshman at Brown University, and we had co-ed bathrooms there. And it was already annoying enough that it was co-ed, but I had to make it even worse. I decided I wanted to do some recordings, and actually it was Bach I was recording, and I decided to do it in the bathroom. I might even have the recording somewhere, but in the middle of it you would hear faucets running and toilets flushing. But it was quite nice reverberation, and it works very well for playing Bach.
Also on the YouTube page with your audition video, you wrote some random notes, as you called them, to yourself on what to do to improve. And most of them are to do with your playing. Number one is improve intonation. Number two is elaborate the vibrato a bit more on ending chords. I love number 5, though, Botox some of those facial expressions.
I know. Those are the grimaces that weren't supposed to be there. It kind of doesn't add to the music. And as I was playing, I was like grimacing because it's painful, or I played a wrong note and I showed it off and people can tell. The notes aren't terribly wrong, but they were, if you listen very closely, they weren't perfect, and that's why I had little comments to myself. But while you're playing it, these wrong notes, you do hear them, and I couldn't believe my face just gave it all away like that. You realize a lot more when you're recording yourself. And since I hadn't played very much for the last 20 years, recording myself was quite a surprise for me to see what I imagined myself to play versus the reality.
It's a bit of an inside joke, though, of course, when you write that you should Botox some of your facial expressions, because
yeah.
As part of your medical practice with your wife, you perform Botox injections.
That's right. I didn't mention that. Yeah, I do. My wife is a plastic surgeon here in Modesto, Tammy Wu, and part of what I do is I work for her, and I do Botox injections and Restylane and fillers, and I also do cosmetic vein procedures. So I work with needles all day. It kind of complements my acupuncture practice.
So you're a surgeon and an acupuncturist.
That's right.
Yes. Are you which is first? Are you first a surgeon or first an acupuncturist?
It's about half and half now. It used to be 100% surgery, and including trauma surgery as well. I decided I got sick of taking care of bullet wounds at 3 in the morning and performing at my best. And I thought that there were a lot of other people who really enjoy doing this, and I'll just let them do it. I needed to sort of keep myself awake during the day for my other patients. It became a matter of priority and choice. And so I stopped doing trauma surgery about 3 years ago. But then I felt like I needed, and here goes the word excuse again, I need an excuse to make that happen. I said, well, let's think about something I wanted to do in the past to fill this void of not doing trauma anymore. So I actually went to Stanford and got acupuncture certification and did acupuncture in place of surgery, and that was my reasoning for letting the trauma surgery go. It allowed myself to do that, and acupuncture was something I always wanted to do